Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the weekly Old School Q&A. You'll notice we have a new face on the couch today, but starting from the familiar faces on the left, we have Mod Lenny.
All right, guys.
We have Mod Bruno.
Hello.
I'm your host, Mod Wolf. And to my left, your right, Mod Ash.
Hello.
And introducing Mod Jenesis from the mobile team. Mod Jenesis, we're really quiet at the moment, they're saying. Can be slightly turned off, that's all right. Mod Jenesis works on the mobile team. His Twitter is @JagXGenesis, correct? We can get that in the chat for you, so you can give him a little follow if you like. And we have quite a few mobile questions. We're also going to be showing off some, a particular feature that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you've been working on, and that's one-touch sign-in.
Yep.
But I'm going to jump straight into these questions because there is so many questions for mobile, and of course, because it went out last week. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of downloads as well, haven't we? We had to up that cap a number of times without saying the number, but we had to up that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's been really popular.
Huge numbers of installs. It's great to see.
Good.
6 figures.
Yeah. So, first question from Bob. He says, Android is brilliant and the build runs incredibly smoothly. But when can we expect the iOS beta or build to be available? Is it close? How close?
So we've been developing Android and iOS at the same time. Both of them are working internally. I was hoping to actually demo today on an iPhone, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, it is coming along. We decided it would make more sense to get the game out quickly on one platform so that you guys can start giving us feedback and we can start, correcting stuff. And it was marginally easier to do that on Android, which is what we did. But the iOS, you guys will get, those of you with iPhones will get the benefit of that because when we do give you a version, it'll all be more polished. And also, it took us. When did we first go always on with Android? It was a couple of months ago, I think.
It was about 3 months.
Yeah. And then last week we then went on to the open beta, and then the full launch will follow. But then with iOS, when that happens, that'll happen in a much more compressed time, so you won't have to wait as long to go through those stages when iOS comes out.
Because, especially as I think the test flight platform doesn't allow for a beta of the scale we've been doing here.
Yeah. So the Android beta that we've done is unusually large for any game, and it happens to be easy to do that on Android. That is true.
Cool. We okay, Mod Check?
Can I interject slightly?
Yeah, absolutely, please do.
I'm going to move your microphone because your beard keeps...
Oh, it's your beard rustling.
Yeah, your beard's rustling the microphone. So I'm going to do...
It's like the old days with Alfie.
I'm going to do that slightly. There we go.
Thank you very much, Mod Shed. Mod Shed, beautiful producer. Next question from Hugo. In the recent news post, the mobile team for both Old School and RuneScape were listed. Can you tell us their role in the team? And I've got a list for you because I don't expect you to remember everyone. So there's the list, but you can tell everybody's what they all do if you want to read it.
So Mod Atlas, he is the principal engine developer. He's been at Jagex, I don't know, like 13 years or something. He knows everything inside out. He's great.
He started about September 2004.
There we go. Boko is another guy on the platform team working alongside me and has done various things for mobile. Mod Dark, he's actually part of the NXT team, so the renderer that we use for Old School Mobile is based on the NXT thing we use for RuneScape 3, and he's done work to get that working on a phone. Mod Jara is part of the QA team. Mod Kiza is the lead platform developer, so he's my boss. Mod Jenesis is me. Kura2 and Meerkat are both in QA. Puppy's in QA. Sammy is another engine developer. And Mod Titus is a guy who works in what we call tech services. And so the stuff I'm going to demo to do with the single-click sign-on stuff, he's done kind of their end of that and helped us to integrate that kind of thing.
They might like to know what NXT means.
Sorry, NXT is the C++ native client for RuneScape 3. So we don't ship the Java, but we do also ship the Java version of the RuneScape 3 client these days. But there's also a much shinier, prettier, more modern version called NXT. That's what we call it. And so that's written in C++ rather than Java. And that's what the renderer for Old School Mobile is based on. Who else have we got? So Mod Vader is QA, and Mod Vagard is another senior platform developer.
Awesome. I'm impressed that you knew all their titles, just their mod names, because I'd struggle with people's mod names. Right, awesome, there you go. Next question from Greg. Will the OSRS mobile app cost money when it's released? No, it is going to be free. There we go. It'll be open to free-to-play at some point as well. Oh, yeah. So once we're out of the open beta phase, then yes, free-to-play players will be able to use it. Yes. Zay asked, I love mobile, but can the spellbook interface, it's meant to say HUD, be changed in mobile? I've been killing Vorkaf and it's very easy to misclick the crumble undead spell.
I've been working on something for that. We've had Mod West helping with some expanded forms of the graphics that I'll be able to switch in without it pixelating horribly. Going to be a while though, because it's quite a big interface with a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, that's what I've been doing all afternoon.
Mod Mackay just said free is my favourite type of re, and it made me laugh. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to test that, to be honest. It looks really good. The icons look really clean and crisp as well. The next question is from Chill. Can we have an update on the GPU rendering update teased by Mod Atlas last year? We presumed it would be with mobile.
Oh yeah. So the GPU rendering on desktop hasn't really progressed anywhere because we've all been flat out on mobile, and so we've been focusing on that for about a year now. And even once it's launched and done, we're going to still be working on mobile for quite a while. So there's nothing really to share about that, I'm afraid. But it is pretty cool, and we'd love to see it in desktop one day.
It seems odd to say even when it's done, we'll still be working on it, but launching an update has never been the end of things. People want things changed. People find issues. We could be tweaking this thing for a very long time, I'm thinking.
And there'll always be, once we're supporting mobile all the time, then change it. We're currently on, engine 171, I think, aren't we? So every time we do an update to the game, then we'll have to be updating not just the Java client, but the mobile client, so there'll be a little bit of work, just in an ongoing way, to keep them all, keep them all working the same.
Cool. The next question is from Killage. Would it be possible to highlight the tile your player is moving to in mobile? Sometimes it's hard to tell exactly where you're moving to with the big circle not as accurate as the X when tapping.
Yeah. So the reason we went with the circle was just because the X will be kind of under your finger on a phone if you tap it. We wanted something that was a bit bigger.
The thing is, we've got that red flag appears in the mini map.
Yeah.
So the client clearly knows where you're going.
Yeah.
I think something in the 3D world might go down a treat for this.
Yeah, I mean it's potentially that's something we could do. We know where you're going. We don't necessarily know what route you're going to take to get there in the client. The server just kind of dishes out the moves. But it is, I think, something the client could show. Yeah, it's a possibility.
Pretty awesome. Cole asks, would it be possible to change the size of the chat box on mobile? Sometimes it gets in the way of some smaller screen phones.
Hang on, it gets in the way.
With smaller screen phones, I presume.
The main screen interface will overlap. I think there's a fix for that, not in tomorrow's update, but in testing for one shortly after that. I'm afraid it doesn't make the whole thing dynamically resizable, but it does make it not overlap with that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is of course possible to tap the all button and close it, but that's not. It's a good workaround for now if it ever gets in the way.
For people who have tapped the button to close it, a common complaint was that people's log-in, log-out notifications for your friends were kind of annoying because you'd see the thing was flashing, and when you looked at it, you found there wasn't a message from your friend at all. It was just telling you, another friend's logged in. Look, you're more popular. Hey. It's good to know. But I think Jed's doing something to make that not happen so that it won't be made to flash in mobile if you shut it in that situation.
Cool. Right, just a reminder for the chat, at RuneScape for any of your questions, mobile related will be prioritised this week, as of course we had mobile open beta out last week, so a lot of questions for that, and anything for regularly game related, feel free to pop those to at RuneScape as well. Next question I have written down here though is number 7, Hidden, asks, would it be possible to see UI scaling?
Yeah, this will be on desktop, I guess. And that's something else that has taken a backseat to all the mobile work. It's something that, if we had the GPU rendering we talked about before, would kind of appear kind of alongside that. It's something. It's something we know that the game needs on. Play on a 4K screen. Everything's tiny. It's taken a pause because of mobile, but it's something we'd like to do very much.
Cool. I'm just going to quickly ask a non-mobile question because I realise I'm badgering you two quite a lot. So let's jump onto a more gameplay-related question. Would it be possible to add purple hit splats to things like Blood Barrage, Guthans, and the Sanguinesti staff, etc., when healing?
I think that's already been worked on.
Who by?
I'm not sure, but I've seen it in Jira. So.
Oh, there we go. If it's in Jira, somebody's looking at it.
True. Yeah.
Which is pretty good. I presume it would need to be polled, but yeah. Would you ever consider a lunar spell such as fill buckets with sand? This would help assist with the Ironman meta of crafting at charter ships.
Well, I like it better than any of the other ways of getting buckets of sand, like walking back and forth to a sand pit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It involves some skill. It involves, doing things.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're getting all the astral runes, but they're probably used to that.
You guys like it?
Yeah. Best way right now, I think, is to teleport to your house in your nil with buckets and then just go outside, then fill your buckets and go bank again. And it's pretty tedious.
That is pretty arduous.
Well, of course, that's the gameplay and it's a grind. Some of the gameplay which gives you like no XP and takes no skill is the gameplay I don't mind devaluing.
Yeah.
That's why we were kind of dumping flax and things like that in early rewards for minigames.
Mod Maz is taking the questions and putting them on my iPad for the first time in a long time, which is awesome. So thank you very much for that, Mod Maz. That's really going to help. Next question from Lunch. Would it be possible to make the melee ghost at Cerberus easier to see? For colourblind people, it's hard to differentiate, especially as the silhouette is very similar to the range ghost. I think he suggested putting a shield on that ghost or something.
It's already been slightly updated on release. So the range has a bow, the mage has a staff, that sort of stuff, but it could be made more obvious, I guess.
The shield thing sounds promising, although I don't know quite whether that model's out of the same kind of bases that can use human shields or whether it's a custom thing.
Yeah, the models are pretty faint, but there's definitely like a weapon specific to the attack style.
Cool. Yeah, we did something similar when we updated the superior Necroil. You know, it's had 3 kinds of death spawns, 1 for each style. When we were asked to make them different colours so people see which style was which, and of course we didn't just do the different colours like they'd asked for. We gave one of them I think a wizard's hat, and another one we gave ranger cowl, and the third one we made bald so he was distinct from them as well. And look, I think he's got a melee weapon.
Cool. Mobile question from Game. Would it be possible for mobile to have split PMs like desktop? Currently, they only go, I believe, in the chat box.
I think Jed's looking at re-enabling that toggle. It means it will overlap with quite a lot of head-up displays if you choose to enable that option. But if that bothers you, then perhaps that option wasn't for you in the first place.
Cool. Snore asked, would it be possible to hide the minimap on the desktop client like you can now in mobile?
Maybe in resizable. It would look really dodgy on fixed screen.
It would look a little weird.
So,
Well, there wouldn't be anything to replace it. Maybe we could have an advert there or something. Monetize it.
Don't joke, don't joke. You know, I can't even remember a day. It sounds really stupid, but I remember a news post going out where we just got rid of adverts entirely. We were like, we're not doing adverts anymore because you don't get adverts as like banners anymore. I can barely remember playing as a kid with those banners there.
I definitely remember it.
You remember
it? It's pretty annoying.
Really?
Yeah, some of the adverts were just like be annoying and they're just flashing in your face the whole time.
Also, back in 04 when, well, 03 in fact, I wasn't working here at the time. Apparently it was before I even subscribed, so it must be fairly early 03. Some of the advert banners for movies would be a full video going on up there showing like The Rock as the Scorpion King, and it would kind of take out your frame rate quite badly while you were playing. So what we found is that we could tell it to zoom in multiple times, and if we zoomed in far enough, it would just be a few blurry pixels showing Kelly Hu from that movie. And that's what was in the middle of it, and it didn't hurt the frame rate quite so badly anymore. I suppose I eventually subscribed. I might have been a bit, well, I was a student then, I wasn't spending so much on computer games.
You know, there's not many films that have graphical effects that are slightly worse than our graphics, but that Scorpion King graphic model is atrocious.
In The Mummy Returns it was quite dodgy, but in the actual Scorpion King movie that spun off from it, he's never spliced into the body of a scorpion, and it works a little better. I love those movies though.
The Mummy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Also Van Helsing. Van Helsing's a good one as well. Question 10 from Hans. Would it be possible to have a portrait version of the game on mobile? Just to play it different. I think he actually gave a reasoning, which was, I want to be able to sit in a meeting and not look like I'm playing a game. But I didn't want to put that down.
Can he sit in a meeting and look like he's kind of just tilted or something?
Head like he's... yeah, possible to have a portrait version?
I mean, technically, as we can tell the app, yes, you're allowed to, be in portrait mode. We can put that in the manifest. That would work. I imagine the UI would be hairy at that point.
It would be something. Like the chat box would be fascinating, given given it is programmed to automatically wrap text as it needs to. But if you go that sort of shape and size, then even the prefixes and chat channels ain't going to fit very well.
Yeah. And just thinking about the 3D view, so the way we cope with different screen sizes, we have a fixed field of view vertically. So you would then have you would sort of see yourself and then very little either side. And if we change it to zoom that out, then you'd be looking at an awful lot of just black sky at the top. So I think the field of view, I think just wouldn't really work. You know,
I don't know. The only person you can really perceive is yourself, and the sky is black. It sounds like a lot of, well, the way people on the internet sometimes feel. Maybe that's how they do see the world.
Well, there we go. But maybe if they want a different perspective, then they should play in landscape.
Cool. I should have probably gathered some data for this question beforehand, but I didn't, so I apologise. So feel free to say you don't have anything off the top of your head. But Minnie asks, do you have any data on how much the average user is now online after the mobile update? How intermittent their logins are? They state, a lot more of my farm runs and agility laps are done in my toilet throughout the day.
Yeah, good to know. I mean...
Is it fertile, the soil?
Oh, God.
Not go there. I mean, we have, many thousands of people playing on mobile at any one time at this point, I think. I don't have any exact numbers, but it is, it's a lot.
Cool. I do find myself, I have done a lot more farm runs myself, not at my desk.
Right.
So yes.
Why do you not play at your desk? You have a computer.
Well, the thing is, I feel like when I'm at my desk, I should be focusing on my work. I feel like I do better work if I'm focusing on it. But when I'm at the toilet, what else am I doing other than staring at
We know what else you're doing.
Clinton asks, could it be possible to toggle having both sidebars instead on one side of the mobile screen? This could assist with one-handed gameplay.
Yes. Not very easily, but you know how in resizable mode on desktop there's two ways you have the stones laid out. One kind of around the inventory, the other below the inventory in one or two layers. Well, we do that by just having two alternate game frames and a toggle to switch between them. And they look very, very similar, so you don't actually notice it's happening so much. We do the same thing with the mobile one, make an alternate game frame and let you swap to that. Of course, while we're still doing quite a lot of work to refine the one we've got, now isn't the ideal time to make another alternate one. Absolutely. While we haven't quite fixed the first one. So we may have to come back to that one another month. But I wouldn't rule it out at all.
Cool. Hugo, again, asks, the mobile's keyboard is very large on all the phones and covers a lot of the screen. Would it be possible to change it to something smaller?
So we don't actually control the size of the keyboard. All we do is say to the phone, we now need the keyboard, please, and it brings it up. So the phone is in control of how that looks. So it's not something we can change, I'm afraid.
Cool. 678592957105827356255 asks, would it be possible for lizardmen and shamans to have different sound effects for attacks? Currently both range and acid attacks share the same sound.
That's about this. It's pretty annoying when you're doing raids and the sound's the same. And not only that, the animation's also the same. So you're like, is he going to range me or is he going to acid me for 30 for no reason? So
that was a little tricky when we
Yeah.
first made those, because between them getting through their poll and us trying to launch it was like one day, and we didn't get a lot of extra animation scope for this one, and certainly no custom sound effects in 2016. We've got the audio team more available as us now, and they've got their tool back that lets us make new sound effects. So we could requisition something new, or maybe just splice in something that isn't that one. I forget what we used in the end. It's probably nicked from somewhere else. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't put this question in. I think this is Mod Rye. Wilson FTM asks, is it coming home?
it definitely is.
It's coming home. I'm going to move on very quickly from that. The next question from Snore. Any updates on making friends with my arm? Ash?
No. I've been working on other things at the moment, currently working on mobile. I hope to get to work on that one later in the year, though. It would be nice to get it out there, because people seem to like it when we pitched it at RuneFest that time, and it would be fun to do more with that character. It's not just an excuse to make lots and lots of dodgy jokes about his arm, but...
like I just did.
Well, the title I pitched was Making Friends with My Arm. Given that the first one in that series was My Arm's Big Adventure, which sounded a little dodgy in itself, according to Mod Mark, who bellowed across the office about it. Yeah, I'd like to do this. And we've got some fairly promising ideas for the rewards involving things you could do to make fire making useful. Not necessarily ways of training it, but having trained it, something to make it worth having done that by using these features.
Cool. A little tease there as well. Vision asks, would it be possible to add a feature to the bank that you could choose which tab a deposit all, inventory or worn automatically gets put into instead of the first tab? So when you press deposit your inventory, instead of it going to the initial tab, you can choose go to tab 7, for example.
Yeah, sounds nice.
Nice to have.
Question.
Maybe it could point at the tab that you've currently got selected if you're in the bank.
I believe it does that already, but
Well, I thought it did too, but then this question said they wanted it.
yeah, I'm really confused.
If you've selected a tab and only have that tab showing, it will go to there. But
Yeah.
if you've just got like all the tabs open and just scroll to your own tab, it'll just put it in the first one.
Yeah, it's not going to be able to tell where you've
yeah.
scrolled down to.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if the player's having a problem with that, maybe they can just select the tab
Yeah.
they want for the moment.
I think the
Of course, they
use case-
might want it in a deposit box, which doesn't matter entirely.
I think I personally used to have my last tab in my bank was kind of my junk, where I just wanted anything that wasn't sorted out to go. So I think it would be a case of that, where you don't want it at the top, which is all nicely sorted out and arranged.
Cool.
Funny thing about that is that the items I think shown at the top are the ones at the bottom of the bank inventory. They're just drawn in different sequence so that the tabs sit after them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The more you know.
Today I learned.
There's actually almost no engine work involved in our bank tab system at all. Partly because in 2014 the engine team wasn't available. I'm not sure I knew you, for example.
Well, I
mean-
was working on something else in 2014, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you wrote a pretty epic system considering.
We did get one thing done in the engine, the in-find command that finds the next slot containing what we specify.
Okay.
It didn't used to support looking for an empty slot. It sort of did, but sometimes didn't, and we had it changed so it always did.
Okay, there we go.
Cool. Agma asks, can you look at making the graphics and click boxes of rooftop agility a little bit easier to click? Some in particular are hard to click on mobile, like ropes.
Yeah, the Varrock ropes are a bit hard to click on. Seems like a fair change since a lot of third-party clients already have these sort of changes anyway, which makes people deviate from the official client.
Cool. I actually spoke to Mod Rye earlier today about this because when the question came up, I wanted to see, because graphics at the moment have a little bit of time spare.
Good.
So I looked at the agility core stuff, and we started joking about like some of the, especially some of the particularly old graphics, like the Volpult in, and you like
The broomstick.
The broomstick.
Yeah.
We were actually, I joked and said you should actually make it a broomstick that you fly across with as an animation. So there is some time going to be dedicated to that, and when doing that, we can also change the click zones of a lot of those annoyances to make it a little bit easier for you. Site asks, would it be possible to... Oh, I've already asked that one, sorry. Lou asked, I really enjoy King of the Skill, Wilderness Wars, Deadman Mode, etc. Do you guys like the idea of possibly doing speedrun competitions in the future with quests or diaries?
I like the idea of it, yeah, it's something that I've always been a fan of. I mean, I think there was quite a large community of people actually who wanted to do it for summer games done quickly, but it's just not something that we've been able to get around to sort of arranging yet.
We felt that to do it properly, we'd need actual high scores that showed the best times, and that was a bit of a sticking point. What we probably do to achieve the best of it is stick you on like the games, the worlds that don't save games. People call them the tournament worlds for legacy reasons, but the no save worlds in our parlance. Stick you on one of those, give you a menu that puts you at the start of whichever quest you want with the inventory requirements and all that, and start a timer. But unless we could get the tech side of things to do the high scores, we felt it was just going to be rubbish.
Cool. Question about mobile. Would it be possible to have the chat box in mobile be more opaque?
That toggle used to be there and it used to work. Somebody took it out because they felt that obstructing the top left of your screen with that chat box being opaque made the game not look very good. So they took out the toggle and forced it into that mode. But it wouldn't be very hard. In fact, it'd be easier to just leave the damn toggle there and let you decide for yourself.
Cool. Will OSRS Mobile on Android be compatible with the multi-screen options available on tablets in the future?
I don't know.
I think I can answer that one if you'd like me to.
Oh, okay.
A lot of Android phones, not a lot of them, I think some of the later ones have picture-in-picture at the moment.
Oh, the split screen stuff.
Essentially, it's just having the app up, like 2 apps open at the same time. I don't actually think we'd have to do anything to let it stay open.
Maybe not. I feel like we did some investigation into this a long time ago, and then I forget what the answer was. But it's not something we've, has been a priority for us. So I'm not sure.
I did see a player send me a screenshot of a YouTube video playing in set over him playing RuneScape, and he was very happy about it.
Yeah.
I complimented him on having probably a rather nice phone.
I mean, it may well just happen to work. I don't think we've really explicitly gone out of our way to sort of check that it does a thing.
Yeah, I know some apps have a pop-out feature, like YouTube and Twitch, so you can have a YouTube video or a Twitch stream whilst doing whatever you want on your phone, which is quite nice.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead, Mod Jenesis, and ask you to go ahead and set up at the PC, or the phone for that matter this week. And I'll ask one more question on the stream here for you guys while you go ahead and get set up. Sorry if the microphone is not muted, because our production's chatting between themselves instead of paying attention. Mayor asks, will there be a midsummer event this year? If not, can the items be obtained from somewhere else like Diango?
No, there won't be, and yes, I think there will be. So there won't be an event, but the items should be able to be obtained from Diango, as far as I know.
And they call me harsh.
I was playing. I love him, really. It's fine. He gives me just as much abuse as well. No, no! Are you ready, Mod Jenesis?
I am ready.
Cool, let's jump on over.
I'm not.
No, evidently you're not. We'll ask one more question.
One more.
City asked, would it be possible to have an enchant all jewellery option like when you fill buckets? So not the make X system, but rather it does them one at a time, slowly, compared to if you did it manually.
I'd be fine with this. The experience isn't that great compared to other things like alchemy or string jewellery. And to be honest, if you're going to do that sort of thing, you're not going to have like 1,000... Well, you might have like a few thousand emerald rings, but it'll still be a lot harder to get.
And you're certainly not having them all in your inventory at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't say banknotes, did they?
No.
Good.
We Gucci? We good?
Oh yeah, we're good, sorry.
Excellent. Right, let's jump on over to Mod Jenesis to show you the new one-touch sign-in feature for mobile.
So we know that typing your username and password every time on your phone is a bit fiddly. So we have a system where once you've logged in the first time, we then remember, we give you a token that remembers gives you access to the server, so you can then next time just log in straight away. So here I am, I'm on the login screen, I've typed in my username and my password just into a rental system. If I tap login, then everything happens as you'd expect as normal. Here we go, I'm in the game. Here we go, it's normal, I scroll around. If I now log out, then I get a very different screen. You notice that it says Mod Jenesis. That wasn't my account name, that's my display name that it's remembered. And if I just tap this, then I don't have to type anything in, I'm straight into the game. Here we go. And if I want to sign in as someone else, I just tap this sign out button, say yes, I am sure, and then I'm back at the normal screen as you'd expect, and I can carry on as normal. And as long as you log into the client for your phone regularly, that access token that we give you keeps getting refreshed. So then you won't have to keep, you won't have to sort of ever put your password in again if you keep doing it. If I had an authenticator on that account, I'd have had to go through that step to approve that. And if you're worried about security, then if you change your password, that will invalidate your tokens. You'll have to go through the process again. And there will be a page on the website where you can revoke the token. So if your phone does happen to get stolen or something, you can then revoke the token, and whoever's got your phone hasn't at least got your bank. Yeah.
Do you want to show that process one more time?
Sure. Yep. Hang on. So there we go.
Oh, I hope your password is tester.
Oh no, it's even better. There we go. That's my QA password right there. Boom. So I can log in. Da-da-da. There we are. Here I am. I'm in the game. Log out. And we're back to this screen. And if you then were to start the client up again from scratch, you would end up straight at this screen rather than the new or existing user screen.
Cool, fantastic.
There we go.
Let's invite you back on the couch. Thank you very much, Mod Jenesis. Thank you. have a clapper in the chat. That's a pretty PogChamp feature right there you've been working on. There is a couple of questions from that have come in from the chat. If you do have any questions particularly about that, please at RuneScape now, and we'll quickly grab those. Just going to quickly let you struggle to put your mic on.
Maybe.
See, it's so much easier if you wear a shirt with lapels. I choose one every Wednesday just in case.
So, is that okay?
We appreciate it.
Yes, it means they don't have to come and click things onto me.
I quite like it when Shed comes really close and clips it on me.
It's enough.
I don't.
So Mod Jenesis.
Yes.
Is that feature a toggle?
So it is just the new login flow for mobile. It's as in you do it the first time. Everyone will have to do it the first time, but then it will just remember that from that point onwards.
Cool. Had a question asking, is it possible to have that for desktop to remember your PC?
I mean, right now we're just rolling it out for mobile. I mean, in theory, the system would work, but yeah, because everything's all about mobile at the moment, we're not going to be doing that anytime soon. But
cool, fantastic. Right, let's jump back to the questions. Robbery asks, would it be possible to add a way to cancel swap spellbook? If you choose the wrong spellbook, you either have to cast a spell or wait for 2 minutes for it to go back to its original spellbook.
I think it would be quite handy for the niche cases where people do accidentally spellbook swap, but I'm not entirely sure what the best place to put the cancel option would be.
Well, we've got some fairly heavy work about to happen to the spellbook anyway for this, for the mobile job I've got to do. And while the aim is, of course, to leave it unchanged on desktop until such time as players are comfortable with it changing, it's not a bad opportunity to look into what else we can put in places, like an extra button appears at the bottom when you've been swapped.
Yeah.
Cool. Julia asked, would it be possible to add an item which auto-disperses ashes similar to the Bone Crusher? It wouldn't give any XP, but would make seeing drops from things like demons a lot easier.
It would be nice, I guess. It wouldn't have much of a use since it would use a slot in your inventory, so maybe a lot of people won't use it, but...
You know, Maz wrote a really centralised drop system and plugged it into all the drop tables across the whole game, which means that we can do more things globally than we used to. Now, in the reasonable assumption that when something's dropping ashes as part of its death, you probably didn't want the ashes. I'm just going to go out there and assume it. We could make them drop for like 5 cycles and then vanish, rather than the usual duration like the rest of your loot. And when I say 5, I could mean 1.
I like that.
Yeah.
Except for people who might actually want to collect ashes, but...
Killing things for is a pretty terrible way.
Yes.
Anything you're going to light logs.
Well, if you're training on imps to get ashes, or training on demons to get ashes,
Good luck with that.
I see the problem you have in there, and I'd suggest you train fire making unless you are sort of no fire making pure.
Agree. Next question from Julietti. When you click on box traps, can reset trap and layer trap be swapped by a toggle, not inspect or whatever it is right now? Hunter is already click intensive. I would love this small change.
Well, I'm quite against this. Compared to a year ago, Hunter's already a lot easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to reset traps. Previously, you'd have to, if you want to do Hunter quite efficiently, you'd have to click under the trap, pick the trap up, go to your inventory, click the trap, and that's like a much longer action.
Yeah.
Whereas now I can just right-click reset, even if it's caught something, which makes it a lot easier. So if you make it a left-click, that'll just make it so much easier. So
No?
it's already really easy compared to what it used to be. So I don't think it should be made easier.
Cool. I dev'd that one. That doesn't happen very often. But when I when I dev'd it, I specifically actually left the option currently how it is because people don't. Firstly, it's less efficient to reset the trap than it is to 3-tick.
Yeah,
We
so
purposely
1-tick
left that be
delay.
the case. So yeah, I wouldn't really be a fan of that. It's why I didn't put that option in to begin with. Patamon RS asks, can items on the ground at Wintertod not appear for other players? Picking up jugs is very annoying.
I think we can put an area-based check into the drop code for that.
Would people want it to apply to everything that got dropped though? Because I don't know if there's any other reason that players might drop items in Wintertodt. I mean, there's none that I can think of, but
Maybe if you get bad loot,
Usually just junk gets dropped, doesn't it?
you get some acorns or something. Just like, I don't want this junk, so you just drop it.
Wouldn't they go outside? Yeah, wouldn't they go outside the Wintertodd's actual environment first?
Usually, when you're opening crates and you're running back and forth, you'll find
Yeah.
quite a bit of junk on the way.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool. Yeah, then it's possible. Is the answer. RS Obsidian asks, can you make it so that when you die, when you are revived, you get unfrozen? Currently, the freeze persists after death.
Is that a Wintertodt freeze?
No, this is all, I presume, ice barrage, etc., and dying from it, and then respawning.
I think this only happens in PvP worlds where you're dying at your spawn, because everywhere else, if you're too far away from the player who froze you, then that freeze gets cancelled. So if you spawn in Camelot and you walk out, someone barrages you and kills you, then you can't move as soon as you spawn because they're right next to you. No, that's only the issue. That's the only place where the issue occurs. But engine.
No, that's content, mate.
Content. Oh.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We can do that. However, there is a question for mobile here, and that is, could you add a talk to type feature so that you don't need to use the keyboard?
Oh, haven't we looked at that? I mean, I assume there are APIs for that kind of thing, but I don't think it's. I mean, theoretically, probably yes. Whether we'd prioritise it, I don't know. Probably not.
Fair enough. Specific question about a specific type of phone. I think that we actually mentioned this one inside of the news post, but why is it that the mobile app is not compatible with the Huawei P8 Lite?
Oh, I think we've got some sort of issue with a particular bit of hardware, which I think it is. There are a few devices that aren't currently working, which we intend to get working. We need to work out exactly what the issue is, and it'll be something fairly low level. Yeah, so there's a bunch of devices that'll hopefully will come on and we'll come back and we'll start working once we've worked out what the problem is.
Cool. If you're not aware, we previously added in a feature so that when you hop worlds or log out for less than a very small amount of time, you're able to not have to put in your bank pin again. It'll remember that temporarily. But this player is asking, could you add a similar system to what you showed with logging in, but for PC as well? So I log out for a day, log back in, but on my PC, I don't need my bank pin anymore.
The bank pin isn't driven by us, it's you, I think, isn't it?
We've got a command micro for us that lets us tell that the player's on the same IP address and device as they were in their previous session.
Right.
And if that's the case and their last session was only about 5 minutes ago, then we choose to keep the bank pin unlocked. So something's checking it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're on the same desktop device, then your IP address probably hasn't changed. But we could do, we could do some other internal stuff to sort of, so we had confidence it was the same device, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, some people have said they do not want to enable that option because they're concerned about...
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't think we'd be forcing it on anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, fantastic. I can finally ask this question, and no, I'm never going to have to ask it again. Tell me, Mod Lenny, when is the Ardoin Night nerf?
that is actually coming tomorrow. So yeah, it's gone through QA now and it's in the RC build, ready to launch tomorrow.
There you go. Get pickpocketing. You've got less than 24 hours.
18 hours.
You've got 18 hours to get 99 thieving. Good luck.
Go do it.
How? Somebody asked, how do I play the Deadman mode seasonal?
Log into a seasonal.
One of the seasonal worlds and kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need membership, don't you?
You need membership. They are members' worlds.
Yep.
We did try a free-to-play seasonal world a long time ago, but I don't recall it being very interesting to anyone.
Yeah. That one wasn't a very good question, so if you do have a better question, please at RuneScape and the chat and ModMaz will gather them. They're very hit and miss chat questions. Sometimes you can be really spot on and I go, wow, this is a great question. Then sometimes I go, you log into the Deadman seasonal world and you play. That's true, and you might not have known that, so I hope that we've helped you. The next question is, why doesn't Spec recharge when you die?
You know, we covered a few minutes ago that sometimes you die and you're still in pretty much the same place. If dying and getting all your spec back happens instantaneously like that, then killing you wouldn't have a whole lot of meaning because you just come back supercharged.
Yeah.
Which, well, probably wouldn't be a whole lot of fun for whoever's trying to fight you.
Yeah. Like Raggers and PvP would be a big one, I imagine.
So, places where you can get back into the fight fairly quickly, which is a lot of places given the number of teleports across the game. I don't think they benefit from this. It's bad enough already that you can go through a POH and recharge fairly fast there. We may have overdone that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Next question is, the HP skill cape regen passive seems to run off of a separate timer than the natural health regen timer.
Mm-hmm.
Is this intended? Because it acts funny, is what they said.
Well, the dev certainly wrote a separate timer on purpose. That didn't, he slip of the hand when he was trying to edit an existing one, he accidentally made a whole new one. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he intended it. Mm-hmm. I think he was aiming for just making sure that the average rate is what it says on the tin,
yeah.
Rather than thinking about exactly how a player might really want it to go. Mm-hmm. That is also the most efficient way of writing it, so that rather than having one timer that's running extra checks to decide what should I do based on your skill cape and all that, he can just have the skill cape look after itself and have the prayer effects look after themselves and have the standard time look after itself. And they're all very straightforward pieces of code. Mm-hmm. So as to avoid, well, it's not like it takes him extra effort to write a more elaborate piece of code. It just means the server's got to process it for everybody, and that's the kind of thing that starts slowing the world down if everyone's got one. So he probably went for the efficient approach, and if it's a problem, well, game worlds in 2018 aren't quite like game worlds in 2007, so maybe we can afford something a bit more elaborate.
I imagine that having it on a separate timer also prevents players from sort of equipping and unequipping the cape as suits them.
I was about to say, I think it's actually probably beneficial for them because the prayers do reset the natural timer, but I imagine what this developer wanted was that not to happen, so that it would be more beneficial healing-wise, but...
Well, he ain't around to ask, I'm afraid. And I don't even know where to look for him on Twitter these days. But, the prayer, the regeneration, the prayer that makes your stats restore faster. Mm-hmm. We managed to avoid that one just being flicked on and off at the moment when the time was due to run. Pretty sure we could achieve this if we had tried to.
Cool. Mobile question. Android allows the support of mice by default. Why does the app not allow us to use this?
Well, partly because in some cases it causes problems. It causes some devices to fail. It is something that we could look at. And again, it's one of those things that, it's a problem that could be fixed. But we have disabled it in order to stop stuff breaking.
Makes sense, just to avoid crashes and things.
Yeah, I forget exactly what it was that was having a problem, but there was something.
Cool. For mobile, it's possible to have the option for the spellbook to move on the other side of the screen.
This might relate to what I said earlier about having options for rearranging the game frame or having a different game frame with a different layout. I suppose if players are ultimately looking to be able to drag and drop those side stones into any configuration they can imagine, mm-hmm. Wouldn't rule this out. Also wouldn't try and do it right now in top of everything else.
Agree.
But if we did, it wouldn't just have to be for mobile. We could do that for desktop in the exact same piece of code, I think.
When can we expect to see the HP reduction for the Grotesque Guardians?
Tomorrow! Yep. Comes with tomorrow's update.
There you go, tomorrow's update. Are we going to see any Zaya or Fossil Island diaries in the future?
Yes, but not a Zaya one while the continent is so incomplete. Because if we do one for what we've got now and then add the rest of the continent, then either it will have no diary tasks in it, or we'll have to uncomplete people's diaries so that they can do the rest of it, and that's, not something they're going to enjoy, quite apart from it being a right mess for us to implement. Fossil Island actually does have a task list already. Yep. It could be given a set of diaries separate from that, though it feels a little like the same thing.
Yeah. Cool. Do you want to do a quick straw poll, Maz, by the way, for mobile? Because I have a notification here. I think it might be pretty cool just to see who in the chat has actually downloaded the Android beta and played it. Can the options be downloaded it and played it, downloaded it, not played it yet. I don't have an Android, or I've not downloaded it yet. Did I miss anything there?
No.
Sounds about all right.
That was it, I think.
Yeah.
Then we'll send that in the chat and just see what you guys are doing. Next question. Does the reduction in HP for gargoyles, grotesque guardians for that matter, mean a reduction in XP?
Yeah. You will not get as much XP compared to what you usually did, because obviously it's less HP, so you'll get less XP.
Cool. Any information that you can give us about plans for a 4-man group Ironman mode? Yeah, do we have any update on group Ironman mode? I think this question is. These get copied and pasted directly from the chat, so if I stumble, I apologise. I'm trying to word them as best as I can.
I think a chunk of the engine work has been, not the engine work, but there's a whole bunch of support systems that you need to exist for Group Ironman to work, which has been done. I'm not sure what is outstanding. So because I've done nothing but mobile for a year, more or less, which is a non-mobile thing. So I'm not quite sure what state.
Well, things that would still need to be done would be updating our language to be able to have 64-bit variables to refer to players' permanent UIDs.
Yeah, okay.
That's rather a large one. Also, I think it was also tied to a refactoring of the script runner, because it would need one. It would need so much rewriting, it may as well have the full job. Also, installation of the clan system, apparently, to track the groups, from what I understand in the tech plan. Which we'd like for a whole lot of other reasons as well, because having got it for Group Ironman, it would be a clan system, and we could make it be one. I could see them finding quite a few uses for that for group content at the moment.
Yeah.
And those are the big ones, I think. Also, high scores was a thing, because I think the plan was that we wouldn't be able to list all the members of the group on the high scores entry for them, but we'd like them to have an entry together rather than 5 separate ones for 5 members of the group or whatever it was. So it sounds like there was rather a lot there, and I don't see your colleagues managing to pull that one off while they're still dealing with all these mobile things, including the iOS version.
Well, yes. So there is some non-mobile work going on here and there. Not everybody in the platform team is just doing mobile, but capacity is limited because mobile is such a big thing for us, because you guys really want it. So
cool. That was a really good answer. Thank you very much, guys. The results have come back. 60% of people have at least downloaded it, with 4% of that actually not playing it yet. They've just downloaded it. 33% of people don't have an Android device, so look forward to that iOS build soon. And 6% haven't downloaded it for another reason or another. That's exactly what the question said. So that's a pretty high percentage of people in the chat who at least have their hands on mobile.
you guys are cool.
You guys are cool.
I'm just thinking the downloaded and not played could include people who, downloaded and then found it didn't work on the device they did have.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
Well, it's gone down to 3% now, so someone's clearly just done it right now.
He's changed his answer. The thumbs up and thumbs down feedback when you log out, has this feedback been useful and used well?
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is that even if you can't use it right now, by getting a sort of how it normally is, you can see if something happens that makes people very unhappy or makes people very happy. Apparently the mobile beta launch did that.
Yeah.
Also, apart from just seeing the average of the whole community altogether, Mod Lottie and the business intelligence staff can break down what categories of people are more likely to be happy than others, and thus identify types of player who are less happy than others, and maybe put some more tender loving care on those people to try and placate them.
Yeah.
It doesn't always tell us what they're unhappy about, but sometimes it'll be fairly obvious what their likely gripe would be. And we can use the data to try and steer that sort of thing. It's really just an extra tool we can use to guide things. We wouldn't say we've abandoned all other considerations like what players say. And looking at what players say, I can see why they wouldn't want us to abandon that. It's just another thing to help guide us in the toolbox.
When we launched the very first mobile beta, we were able to look at the thumbs up and thumbs down coming just from the mobile app. For the first like 3 or 4 days, it was great. It was 100%, and then on about day 5, we got 1 downvote, and we thought, oh, you know, what's happened here? What's gone wrong? What did this person not like? And it turned out to be Mod Titus testing the system. So we had a perfect run until he decided to press down just to see what would happen. So,
Ruined it.
Yeah,
Mod
so
Titus
we threatened him with sharp implements.
We joked about it as well. We were in the chat. We were in the internal chat room.
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
said, "Oh, who's this one person?" And better not have been somebody in the office. And he was like, "Actually, no, it was me.
Actually,
I
it
needed
was
to test
this
it."
guy.
And we're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you've ruined it." But yes, it is. I'm. You guys weren't here, I think, when it was implemented, but there was a level, like we weren't even sure how well it would be. We just wanted it as another possible tool to use in our analytics. And it is quite incredible how consistent the percentage is until something happens, negative or positive. It's really useful. So, yeah. Any information? Oh, sorry, I asked that one. Could herb seeds be recolored so that you can easily distinguish them from each other, similar to how herbs are different colors? Oh, that's a really nostalgia ripping one, but
Yeah, there's only so many colours you can have until the seeds look a bit dodgy. Like you don't unless you're in raids, you don't really want a purple seed. Like
yeah,
someone who's coming back to the game, be like, what's this?
exactly.
So just right-click the seeds.
That is a good
Every
answer.
bush.
It solves all colorblind problems. We smart,
Yeah.
right? You can't be affected by colorblind if they're all the same color.
Also, all herb seeds look the same, so you can differentiate whether there's like a tree seed or a herb seed, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. 500 IQ right there. Next question is, can it be possible to turn master scroll books into teleports? They're worthless at this point, essentially. I imagine like the charred books, you can get a couple of pages in return for them.
You think the engine work?
I mean,
Yeah, I know. What do you guys think?
it's technically possible, yeah, but it's a case of what teleports would they be turned into? Because if it was sort of any of the teleport scrolls that can be put in it,
Yes.
obviously some of those are worth a lot more than others, and
Yeah.
that could quite severely affect the prices of them.
We could give you a nice load of fire making XP for setting it on fire.
This is a fair question. I see this quite a lot on YouTube, so I'm going to answer it now. I haven't seen a stream in a while. Where did Archie go? He's not been fired. He's not dead. I've seen that quite a few times. He is alive and kicking. He still works at Jagex. Don't worry. It's just he's moved on to his newer role of influencer management, and he works in competitive gaming now. He will still be on the stream every now and then. It's freed up a little bit of his time having other people host the stream. So don't worry. Not dead. Not fired. He's not sleeping behind the couch. He's good. We good? Perfect.
Yep.
Can the graphics team design any new themes for the player-owned house? One to go over Fossil Island would be pretty cool. When was the last time we did one of those?
Halloween 2015, I think.
Yep.
Or 16. Not entirely sure. 2016, I think.
Yeah. It's just a copy of Death's House for the war kit.
Takes a surprising number of models to make one of those, especially with the roof
does,
as well.
yeah.
But well, you did mention that they might have a bit more capacity at the moment. I would love to get more styles there. Plus, the rewrite of POH I did a while back, I changed a lot of the infrastructure to support the room rearrangement menu. And while I was about it, I made it a lot easier for us to have a lot more styles in the future. So that's good, come in handy.
Cool. We're running the final few more minutes of the stream. So again, if you have any final last-minute questions, do at RuneScape, and ModMaz will pick them out. Question about the seed box. Can it have the same functionality as the room pouch, where you can choose the seeds to be placed in and out, as opposed to it being an inventory that you just stash it all in?
Yeah. That could be nice.
How does the current one work? I'm not actually too sure. Is it just does it flip the inventory kind of thing, or does it? Because the room pouch I know has the inventory at the bottom and then the 3 slots. How does the seed pouch work? Or
Too sure.
Kind of immaterial from the point of view of this, because what the player's
Yeah.
asking about is picking things off the ground when they're not looking
Yeah.
at the interface at all.
So like when you go to the Magic Tutor in Lumbridge, if you talk to her, she'll make it so that you can pick runes up, and if they're in your pouch, they'll just go straight to your pouch.
okay, yeah,
That's what he's
true.
asking for.
Yeah, okay, I do remember that. I tested that. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Courtesy of Mod Tom H, that update.
That was. I think that maybe no, Barbarian Assault was his last. I think before he left.
Yes.
Yes, and then that was a big job actually. That pickup. runes and arrow stuff.
That's one of the reasons we haven't offered to roll out a lot of other places.
Cool. Any possibility on mobile-only worlds? I presume for PKing is what they're specifying for, but...
Is it possible for a player to fake that they're on mobile?
Well, we do various things to try and work out whether you're on a mobile or not. Yeah, I mean, someone could have a go. Not going to comment on how successful they might be. Yeah, I'm not quite... As in, I suppose if you wanted to do mobile-only PvP, there might be some value in it, but otherwise I'm not quite sure what the benefit would be. But
Well, even players not PvPing have commented that they find it hard to compete for resources when you click on a rock before the next person gets to mine it. That kind of thing seems to be annoying them. So I see the interest.
Cool. I have a question here. I think we might have answered this in a similar manner last week, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It was, is there a way that we can have useless quest items removed from our bank or account once the quest has been completed?
Yeah.
Do you know any more about that?
Yeah.
Being worked on.
It passed a poll recently, so expect it eventually.
In fact, didn't Old School RuneScape which put out a tweet seeking comments on it from players?
Yeah, I
Mod
believe
Monroe's doing that.
Yeah, he's got a spreadsheet, I believe, on Google Docs, which he's invited everyone to take a look at and let him know if there's anything missing from it. So just check out at JagXMonroe on Twitter.
MUNRO, if we can get that in the chat, just to make sure nobody gets hacked or phished.
NRO?
MUNRO.
Oh, that. Right.
Yeah.
Could an icon be placed in the chat or the friends list to show who is on mobile?
I mean, yeah, we can make that information available to the relevant bits of chat.
That one would be engine.
That would be yeah. So we'd have to make sure you guys can tell.
Pretty cool, man.
People may not want to share that. I don't know. It'd be important to make that toggle whether you share the information or not. But
If the engine will support it.
It's a.
I'd love to send that to you.
Yeah, it's a little.
If you're willing to do the work.
It's a bit of a different atmosphere. We're having you on the couch.
No. As in, technically entirely feasible. We might want to look into whether people want to automatically share the information or not. But yeah, doable.
Cool. Would it be possible to allow the game to remember the chat window being minimised when switching worlds? I presume that's also mobile specifically, because you mainly have your stuff closed on there, but it could also apply to desktop.
We should be able to do that.
Cool.
It isn't engine work.
No.
Cool. Can I? Oh, I asked that one already. Sorry.
Well, we asked the same things repeatedly.
Don't worry.
Shouldn't we?
That's my fault. Don't worry. How extreme is the cactus spine update, and when is it released?
It's released tomorrow, and I think it's based off of what your farming level is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you know the numbers?
I think at 75. I'm not sure what the percentage is.
At 99, I know the
Yeah.
percentage is 30%.
Yeah.
And at the level to grow it, I believe it's 65%.
Yeah.
It's 75. So 75 scaling down to
Yeah.
30
Yeah,
from the
basically
level to
it's-
grow cactus to level 99.
Mm-hmm.
So at 99, you're looking at about 9 or 10 cactus spines on average. At level, I think it's 50 something to grow a cactus. Around that level, you're looking at about 4 or 5 cactus
Yeah.
spines.
The exact numbers will be on the post for tomorrow's update. So if that interests you, can go check it out there.
Weird thing, the cactus patch is the only one I'm aware of where it plays a jingle when you check its health.
Does it? What jingle is it?
It sounds kind of Caribbean themed. I'm afraid I'm not singing it.
Oh, okay. Darn.
Type re in the chat if you
We
want to
tried.
know that.
No. Gosh, okay. Since the technology is out, oh God, why, this is such a stupid question. Since the technology is out, would we be able to use Face ID to log into RuneScape?
I mean, again, that would be something we'd have to integrate. Although, we could use a fingerprint. Who knows? Again, it's a question of what we want to prioritise and whether that's the most important thing.
It's cool, but stupid at the same time. You know what I mean?
And really, the question is, do you want to use your actual face or the face of your character?
Oh yeah. I'm just imagining
How do
somebody
you show
trying
that to your phone?
Well, you unlock it on another phone and use that.
Oh, yeah. We should sell masks of your character's face, maybe.
Yeah.
Can you add a warning when emptying your Ancient Wyvern Shield? At the moment, you can accidentally lose 650k if you misclick it.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Good. Awesome. It is 6 o'clock. I'd like to just extend a thank you once again to Mod Jenesis for coming on the couch and answering so many of your mobile questions, so thank you very much for that. Of course, everybody else on the stream, the wonderful people in production. It is going to come home in an hour, so we're going to have to get ready. Myself and Mod Shed are...
The last question.
Mod Shed asked, is it coming home? It is about to come home when we go to the Jagex built-in pub and get a couple of non-alcoholic drinks, of course, to celebrate.
Well,
thank you very much.
It's drinking time.
We're eating into drinking time, so he's asking me to hurry up. So again, thank you all so much. Thanks once again, Mod Jenesis, for coming on and answering those questions. Have a wonderful week and take care. Bye-bye.